I just had a Zoom call with two of my friends. That's real significant because I have isolated so much most of my life that to have a group of friends took a deliberate action on my part this year. And I did that as I did at the beginning of the year, where I just kind of took my hands off my business. I quit working and spinning my wheels. And I spent time listening to how God led me this year. I should say last year. Happy New Year. Part of my being obedient to what He's called me to do meant reaching out. And there was a lady I met on LinkedIn years ago. And we met, and then in the interim, she lost her husband. Hi, Debbie. And the Lord led me to reach out to her. So I'd rather just sit at home. But I was going to be obedient. I reached out. I said, let's go to lunch. I took her to lunch. And we struck up a friendship. Well, out of that friendship, she introduced me to a friend of hers. Hi, Adria. And we just started getting together on a regular basis. We call it a kind of our mastermind group. And in this group, what we do is support each other. We challenge each other. We encourage each other. That's one of the very first lessons I learned in 2022, and it was the most significant one. The power of sisterhood. The power of a group of like-minded people who aren't in competition with each other, but are there to support and embrace one another. It has been one of the most powerful things that I learned and did in 2022. So we brought in the new year encouraging each other, and it was a wonderful time. That's why I'm dressed like this, y'all. I ain't been out on no date yet. Talk about that all year. I haven't done it yet, so I stayed home and FaceTime with my friends Adria and Debbie. Now, the other thing that I learned in 2022 and was confirmed in this meeting tonight was that I need to be authentic without apology. We all know that once you get in the internet, there's going to be naysayers and negative Nellies, and everybody's going to have something negative to say. And we have to learn to either not read that stuff or let it bounce off. It's like water off a duck's back. But sometimes you get advice from family and people that you love, and it will tend to almost extinguish your authenticity. So one of the things I learned, and it was supported in this meeting tonight, is the importance of being authentically me without apology. And that means that I have to be comfortable enough in my own authenticity to let things flow from me and understand that while that's not going to be for everybody, it will be exactly what people I'm called to need. It'll be exactly what they need, and they will receive that straight from my heart, and I don't have to apologize for the delivery. So that's another really important thing that I learned. Another thing I learned was the importance of being intentional. Intentional. That's very important to me, and especially in my business, because I would tend to see the shiny object and run to it, or see something over here, or see something somebody did over there. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to, it just was so much, and I was doing Before 2022, I was doing a lot of stuff that my heart wasn't into it. And indeed, it didn't yield any results. So the other thing that I learned besides being authentically me is the importance of intentionality and being intentional in the things that I do. Now, part of that intention for me is listening and hearing from God as to what he needs me to do, where he needs me to stand down, where he needs me to go, and when he needs me to go there. And by being intentional in that regard, then I will tend to be more powerful in the things that he's called me to do. It might be go to the grocery store today. I'll give you an example. We just had a major snowstorm, and it was Christmas Day. I got up and I looked outside and I said, look, I'm not shoveling this snow more than once today. And I put it off and put it off and put it off. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I needed to just put on my coat and get out there. So while I'm out there shoveling snow off my walk, I was throwing salt. And I noticed that the people next door to me had flung their door open and was leaving it open. And when I looked around, it looks like their mother was getting out of the car and trying to unload the car. Well, as the lady who lives next door was walking down her stoop, they had shoveled it, but it was pure ice. So I said, well, let me throw this salt over here. And I threw the salt over there and I threw it down across the sidewalk and out to where their mother's car was. Then I helped them to unload the car. And then I took her arm and I had to kind of guide her into the parking lot spot because she was getting stuck and everything. And then I walked her arm in arm up the stairs and into the place. And now as I walked her, I looked at her face and I said, boy, you are so beautiful. This lady's probably in her 70s. And she was just beautiful. And as I walked her, I just said out loud, now I know why the Lord had me come out here now to shovel the walk. That was an example of just a simple thing where I didn't know. I thought I'd be lazy, but obviously I was putting off shoveling until this lady was coming because I was supposed to be there to assist her and throw that salt so she wouldn't slip on those stairs. That's just a minor example. I've had times where I'd go to the grocery store and I'd be standing I was probably standing behind a little old lady or something because if I see somebody in line that has less food to check out than I do, or it's an elderly person, I always step back and let them go ahead of me. There have been a couple of times where I just felt led to just pay for their groceries. No fanfare, no cell phone recording the crap, just would not go ahead and let them ring it up. And when the lady told them how much it was, I would step up and say, let me have this. And I just would run my card and pay for it. So I don't know. There was one time where a little old lady was checking out and I noticed she was walking and I told her to get in the car and I took her there. So it's just little things that we don't know what they mean to other people, how much they mean to other people that do that. We don't know. But it's just a matter of that being able to hear and be led by him. That's important to me. So that's what I mean by intentionality. Another thing that I have been allowing myself to lean into is intuition. I was just telling somebody on the phone the other day, and for me, that means really giving up a lot of my please me ways. There have been a couple of people and a couple of times that people might have invited me over and something just wasn't sitting right and I really wasn't wanting to do that, or somebody might have invited me to go someplace and I would just think about doing it just because I didn't want them to feel a certain way or I wanted them to feel supported. And I have cut that out. If I'm not feeling it in my gut, then I'm not going to do it, and I have to be comfortable with that. I'm not going to put myself out into situations socially or otherwise that I'm just not comfortable with. It's taken me this long to come to that. But that's one lesson I learned in 2022. I don't owe anybody being where I don't want to be for whatever reason. And that's just been a big step this year. Another thing that's been a big step for me is not putting myself out to benefit somebody else. So in other words, there was somebody that needed something, and if I would have given up my finances for that, then I would be flat broke for half the month. Now, I know a time where I would have just done that and suffered the consequences. But I've learned, no, Linda, you can choose you in this situation. And so I've learned how to choose me. I've learned how to honor myself, to take care of myself, as opposed to trying to please other people who would never even really understand the sacrifice that I might have made on their behalf. So that's another thing that I've learned in 2022. Getting back to the be your authentic self without apology. One of the girls told me tonight as we brought in New Year that I was a floodlight, not a flashlight. And it really struck me because this was said in the context of my kind of stepping back away from my authentic self in some degree. So in other words, somebody said, Linda, you come too hard, yada, yada, you need to soften your message, yada, yada, yada. But what the girls were telling me tonight was, Linda, no, the people that you're called to will not shy away from your delivery because you've hit us straight between the eyes on multiple occasions and we both just drank it in. And you come straight, you're a floodlight, not a flashlight. And they were telling me that you draw your power from the universe and that your delivery is authentically you. Don't shy away from that. And that's what we all kind of discussed tonight, was how each of us in our own ways have kind of dampened our lights and shied away from our individual powers. So in other words, each person is created for a reason in the master plan, and unless and until we embrace our own authentic selves on all possible levels, then we never realize or step fully into the power of our callings. And the people who suffer because we have stepped back are the very people that we are called to reach. So it's like we step into our power, we embrace who we are authentically, and we flow with that so that others can be healed. It's a deep thing, you guys. And for me, who has suffered trauma, it takes deliberate steps and deliberate growth in order to feel comfortable with that, not to shy away from that. It's so important to me to be my authentic self. And what's really interesting is the same person that told me years ago that my authenticity will draw others to me is the same person that told me that I needed to kind of step back and soften the delivery. But stepping back and softening the delivery is really not who I am. To be authentically me, for me, means that I let the things flow through me that flow through me, and I stand comfortably in that, understanding that, hey, this is how God made me, and the people I'm called to will feel the heart and the intention behind that. The ladies in our meeting tonight were saying we embrace the truth that we feel coming from you, and you don't sugarcoat it. You're not mollycoddling. And the people who are ready to grow and the people that are called to you will love it just like we do. And that was very encouraging to me. So I'm hoping for you in 2023 that you step into your authentic self without apology as you reach out and embrace those who will be healed through the authenticity of your calling. I hope that in 2023 that you find healing in your soul so that you can step into the limelight and step into your purpose without apology. The whole reason for this whole channel is just to be real with you guys, to be honest with myself so that I can be honest with you. And sometimes I want to hide. Sometimes I'm ashamed of some of the stuff that I've shared with you guys, but I make an intentional and deliberate decision that nope, we ain't hiding anymore. Nope, that's not helping anybody. Nope, who do you think you are to be trying to tell everybody what to do and you can't own your own crap? Who are you to be trying to walk people into their healing and into the light, and you won't even be honest about how you know not to do that? What kind of goofy did you do to learn that? So I can give you in 2023, I can give you the authenticity without apology. My intention will always be straight from the heart to bring you healing and understanding so that you can once and for all find freedom. Freedom from the vision boards you've done that you haven't seen come true. Freedom from repeatedly declaring and decreeing. If you're in the church, you know what that means. Freedom from the manifestation madness because the law of attraction is not working in your life. Freedom from all of the affirmations you're spitting over and over again and seeing no freedom and healing in your life. Only way I can bring you that is to be authentically who I am. And I thank all of you who have followed the channel. It's really done a lot of growing in 2022. I'm looking forward to seeing even more growth in 2023. And I just want to, from my heart, thank you guys for being so supportive, so encouraging in the things that you say, and letting me know that you're finding freedom through the things that I share in the videos. Feel free to always tell me, what do you need me to cover? I'm going to do a separate video and tell you what's coming up in 2023 and where I want to take the channel, and I'll ask for your feedback on that. But in the meantime, what am I getting ready to say? Always remember, your greatest power is realizing the truth of who you are. Know that truth. I'm Dr. Linda.